We're on a quest to find the best sandwich that the United States has to offer. Our challenge is that the US is a massive country with a ton of different sandwiches. Every region, every state, every city, every town even has their own unique specialty, and everybody thinks that theirs is the best. So we've already covered the American South, the Midwest, and the East Coast. All that remains is the final frontier, the great American West. Now, compared to the other regions we've covered, the American West might not have the most developed sandwich culture, right? But lucky for me, I had you guys on the team to help me nail down a few legendary Western sandwiches. So, first up on the list is the Tritip sandwich. This one hails from California's Central Coast, specifically in the Santa Maria Valley. I could not ignore this one. So many of you wanted me to make a Tritip sandwich. I personally love Tritip. It's one of my favorite cuts, especially on the grill. So Santa Maria barbecue, in my eyes, is kind of similar to the beef traditions of, say, Argentina in South America, right? It comes from ranchers on big open properties, basically grilling beef with their boys. It's a simple rub over live fire. They're known for these awesome hand crank Santa Maria style grills, which are also heavily used in Argentina and elsewhere in South America. I digress. So today we're gonna keep it simple and use some classic Santa Maria ingredients and components to build our Tritip sandwich, starting with the beef. The Tritip, baby boy. Now this comes from the sirloin, which means that it's not quite tender, but it's also not quite tough. It's kind of an intermediate cut. So it's gonna need a little more time than, say, a ribeye on the grill, but you know, you're not gonna have to cook it super low and slow like a brisket. Now to season our bad boy, I'm gonna use this stuff here. It's a pre-mixed little situation. It's literally just garlic, salt, and black pepper. That's it. Santa Maria barbecue is very minimalist, and I love that about it, honestly. I actually picked this up back when I was a private chef at one of my favorite grocery stores just outside of Malibu. It's really high quality stuff, so we're just gonna use the rest of it. Make sure everything's covered. It kind of smells like beef jerky already, which is definitely a good sign. I just got some French rolls here. Garlic butter, check that out. It's literally just butter with a little bit of salt, garlic, and parsley. Took it out this morning, so it's slightly tempered. So yeah, that's literally all you do. But the thing about Santa Maria barbecue is that it calls for a certain particular grill. Lucky for us, I actually happen to have one, which is kind of crazy. Something interesting about the Tritip here when you slice it is that the grain actually tends to change. So there's almost like two pieces. You can kind of think of it like cutting it off here and here-ish. You just kind of got to read the meat. It kind of starts going like this and then changes as it goes down here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this piece away so that I know it's different. Remove that. So you can see the grain running down this way here. I'm just gonna slice this into nice, medium, thin slices. It's very important that you slice this. I mean, like any meat, you want to slice it against the grain, but Tritip specifically because it's that sirloin, you know? At this point, we cooked it long enough so that it's tender, but still, you want to manually tenderize it as well. Into the beef pile you go. Tritip, donezo. Couple other components when talking about the Tritip. We're gonna make a quick little salad here with some arugula. It's kind of got that peppery spice to it, and some cilantro, which I just associate with Tex-Mexy flavors, of course, Mexican food. We're gonna pop some roughly chopped cilantro in there with our arugula, maybe a little more pepper for good measure, touch of kosher, olive oil, a splash of white wine vinegar. That's gonna be very nice with our beast. And the other component is I made this off camera, but this is Santa Maria style salsa. Now, what does that mean? I'm not really sure, but I got this off the Santa Maria Valley tourism website. It's got jalapenos, onions, tomato, a little bit of garlic, and I believe there's some oil in there. I'll have this recipe for you in the description below. This is gonna go on our sandwich later too. So yeah, very simple. On to the next one. The Fool's Gold Sandwich. So this sandwich was popularized by Elvis Presley, the king of rock himself. Legend has it, one of his friends was telling him about this specific sandwich that he had in Denver one night, and kind of on a whim, Elvis got in his private jet with all of his buddies, flew from Memphis to Denver, and went to the restaurant, grabbed some sandwiches, and ate them on the flight back to Memphis, which is pretty insane. Talk about indulgence. The king knew how to live. So, you know, at the time, you're talking about the most famous person in the world. So this sandwich kind of got really popular because it's, well, it's straight up weird. Let's make it. I've seen the sandwich made with a ton of different kinds of jams and jellies, mostly just grape jelly. However, in my research, I found that it's actually technically made from blueberry preserves, like the original sandwich was. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pop these right in. Cool. A dash of H2O. We're gonna pop all of our sugar on top. Just a little bit of sugar. And then this ingredient here is very important. This is citric acid. It's an organic compound found in citrus fruits, right? It's what gives lemons, what gives limes their tart taste. Now we're adding this because, sure, you can add lemon juice, but I prefer this stuff so that you don't get the taste of the lemon. You know, I just want blueberry preserves. I don't want lemon blueberry preserves, which that sounds kind of good too, but citric acid's what I choose. We're gonna add that in. That's also gonna help thicken our jam, our preserves up. So now all you do is just kind of give this a mixy. Cook this on a nice medium heat until the blueberries break down, and that's literally all you do. Now we're gonna speed the process up in the ice bath. Just chill it down a bit and this is gonna thicken. Roasty toasty peanuts for peanut butter. These at one point were raw and skinless. I went ahead and toasted these in the oven until they got nice and kind of like darkened like this. And believe it or not, it's pretty much all you need to make peanut butter. All the peanuts. A pinch of kosher. I did not salt these peanuts, so I'm gonna go a little heavy on the salt. A touch of the shugs, and we can always adjust that more later on. And we're just gonna blitz this until it turns creamy. This can take a pretty long time, so have patience. All right, let's give this thing a look-see. It looks pretty Creamtown to me. Oh. All we did was put peanuts, a little bit of sugar and salt in a food processor and let it run for a few minutes. Homemade peanut butter. All right, we're all cooled down. You can see that thicky texture. We'll just part the Red Sea here for a second. This thing's ready for the jar. Give that a little jangle your jelly, and oh yeah. So I like these chunky berries in here. If you wanted to, you could totally just blitz and puree this in the blendy and you would have a smoother preserve. That tastes fantastic. And with that, I think we're ready to move on to our next sandy. The French dip. No, this did not come from France, it's American. Specifically from California, specifically from a downtown LA OG establishment called Philippe's, where it was accidentally invented when a dude basically was ordering a sandwich. One of the workers at this spot accidentally dropped the roll in the beef juice, the jus, and decided to just kind of sell the sandwich anyway. The customer ended up liking it, and like so many happy mistakes in this world, something amazing came from it, and the French dip was born. Some people argue that there's another spot called Cole's that could have invented the sandwich too back in the early 1900s, but we don't have a dog in that fight, so I'll let you guys duke that out in the comments below. I guess Philippe's nickname was Frenchy, so, you know, the French dip. Let's make it. Here we go. I got some aromats, we got onion, we got carrots, celery, some thyme, garlic, 2 bottom round roasts that I slowly cooked until fork tender. Let them chill down a bit, and here we are. So this is a pretty lean cut, but there is some fat on top here. We'll leave that on for flavor. All we gotta do now is slice these bad boys up. Dang, look at all this stuff. Perfect. All right, so I made some beef stock off camera, mostly because, well, it takes about, 16 to 20 hours. We ain't got time for that. So basically what I'm doing now is just skimming off some of this orange stuff, which is actually just the fat. We'll leave some of it in, but I'm gonna get rid of, I would say, like 90%. There's a lot of collagen. I put a lot of bones in this stock and let it simmer super low and slow for a very long time. And we're left with this, a super rich beef stock full of body. So what we're gonna do here, pot, little beef stock. That looks about good. And just like they do in Philippe's, a little bit of our pan drippings directly into that stock there. So we kind of got double seasoning with these vegetables and the beef, and then again with the vegetables and the beef from the beef stock. Now we're just gonna take this and plop it in. Ugh. The only other thing we really gotta worry about is this stuff right here. This is homemade mustard, right? At Philippe's, they got the stuff, it almost looks dark orange. It's a horseradish mustard. I did my best to try to make something that looks very similar to theirs here. You can see it's almost that orange color. Spicy as hell, and it's gonna go good to kind of break up that super salty, like umami-rich beef. So that's pretty much that. I think we're ready to move on to the next sando, which is the fry bread taco, also sometimes referred to as the Indian taco or the Navajo taco. I know, the rules of this contest, no burgers, no sausages, and no tacos. But the reason this one's okay is because, as you'll see, we're gonna actually kind of make dough and make bread for the sandwich. So it's kind of, not really, sort of, kind of a taco. So according to Smithsonian Magazine, fry bread originated 144 years ago when the US government forced Native Americans living in Arizona to make a 300-mile journey known as the Long Walk to relocate to New Mexico. To prevent people from starving, the US government gave out canned goods, white flour, sugar, and lard, which indigenous populations eventually turned into fry bread. Now, if you don't trust a white dude making fry bread, I don't blame you at all. Which is exactly why I'm going to use the recipe from the Navajo Grandma YouTube channel. This lady is awesome. She makes indigenous foods, and she seems like a complete sweetheart. I'd love to hang out with her one day. Her recipe seems to be from her grandmother, so I trust it. If you want to check her out, I'll leave a link to her channel below too. Fry bread, it's very, very simple. We're gonna start with some all-purpose flour. Flour in, a little bit of baking soda, salt. We're gonna mix that around with our hands, and then into that center goes a little bit of oil. We will mix that oil all about, and then warm water little by little. I'm gonna add about a cup at a time. Soft and supple. Once you get to that point, we can pop that right on our surface and just knead it a bit till it smooths out a tiny bit. We don't need a ton of gluten in this dough, right? We're just kneading it until it looks nice. The cool thing is there's no real recipe for this. Everybody kind of does it differently. I feel like few people actually measure their ingredients. Navajo Grandma, she's a pro. She doesn't measure, but lucky for us, she did once, and this is the recipe I'm using. Form it like this, so you get a little dough ball like that. Then we're gonna pop it back in our bowl and let that rest covered for about 20 minutes. It's gonna start to puff up a little bit. All right, so here I just put together a little taco seasoning mix. We got a lot of stuff in here. The recipe will be below for you. And boom, we just cooked some taco seasoning. Here I have some wonderful skirt steak that I went ahead and cubed up. You know, I've seen this a lot with ground beef. I've seen this gourmet with other interesting ingredients. I've even seen like duck confit on it. So I think there's a lot of flexibility here. I did want to keep it a little classic. So basically we're just gonna make some taco season, you know, rubbed skirt steak. That's gonna be our protein. A little bit of Earl in the pan. All of our skirt stick in the pan. I'm gonna season that with a bit of salt and a little bit of our taco seasoning as well. Something like that. Just gonna kind of mix that around until it cooks through. Nothing sweeter than the sweet, sweet sounds of beef. We're looking very unintentionally Chipotle-like, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And this is ready for tacos. All right, what? Our dough has sufficiently rested. It's supple, it's puffed up a bit. Now I'm just gonna cut off a little portion here, and then I'm just gonna hand shape this, just like Navajo grandma. So she made a little disc, and then, almost like an arepa, you just kinda form it into basically like a small tortilla shape. Almost like a thick flour tortilla. And that baking soda is also gonna help add color to this and kinda make it go all nice and beautifully golden brown. My technique is not even close to hers, but we're doing our best here. All right. Now another really important step that Navajo grandma talks about, and I've seen other people do this too, is tearing little holes in the actual bread here so that it doesn't puff up too much. So 1, 2, 3 little makeshift holes in there, and we're just gonna fry it up now. We're gonna lay that in. And this is looking perfect. Fry bread is looking beautifully GB and crispy. On to the final sandwich. The Monte Cristo. This actually originated in Disneyland, specifically at the Blue Bayou restaurant. If you're asking me, this is sort of an Americanized version of the French croque monsieur, which is just a ham and cheese sandwich essentially on brioche that's kind of toasted and then draped over with some cheese and bechamel sauce. This one is a classic America because we doused the whole thing in sugar. Nowadays, you might come across it in literally any other state, probably at like a mom and pop diner or something. Let's make it. Starts with this brioche loaf. Sweet, buttery, enriched bread. We're gonna take some nice Texas toast style chunkers. That's looking good, and that is also looking good. I'm talking big boys. This sandwich ain't no joke. We're gonna lay down 2 pieces of Swiss. We want this gooey on both sides. That will insulate our turkey. And our ham. And then we marry the two. Whoa, dude. We need to do something very special to the sandwich, which includes making a batter. All right, simple batty. Starts with some nice whole milk. Can add more of that if we need to later. A little all-purpose flour, baking soda, sugar, salt, an egg, and a smidge of vanilla extract. Now we whiskey. Very important step here. We got our toothpicks to help secure our Cristos. So it's a little on the thicker side, as you can see. I like to squish it down just a little bit. It can take it, don't worry. And we're just gonna secure the 4 corners of our sandy. With our sandies secured, we can then lower them into the batter. Make sure to really cover these babies. Saturate all the sides, make sure, slop them around a little bit. Then we are going to pop them right in the oil. So you can kind of get under it. See how fast that color changes already? Get that other side going, and then you can play the flippy game. It helps to use a spatula with holes in it so you can still press it. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. Woo. All that sugar in the batter is helping that turn nice and golden brown and pretty. These little Crispies are actually really tasty. It kind of smells like funnel cake if you're into that. And look how quick that comes together, ladies and gerbs. The Monte. All right, all of the components of our sandwiches are done. It's finally TTB. Time to build. Starting with the tri-tip. First, we got our garlic butter French roll, grilled. On the bottom, I'm gonna land some of this here Santa Maria salsa. It's kind of like a pico de gallo vibe in a way. Then we're gonna pop down some of our tri-tippage. That looks about nice, doesn't it? Followed by our arugula cilantro salad topper. Then we simply close her up. Tri-tip sandwich. The Fool's Gold sandwich starts with a hollowed out French roll. We got our blueberry preserves. And our creamy house-made PB. Look at that. And what makes this sandwich peculiar is the bacon, the crispy bacon right in the middle. I'm gonna load this thing up, why not? I don't know how many strips that is, but you just saw it. Whoa. French dip, you guessed it, starts with a French roll. So at Felipe's, they do what's called the double dip, which is where you dip both sides. That's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna take it, drop it in the jus, push it down for a second, pick it back up, and now we have a dipped sandwich. All we do is plop our boeuf right inside there. And the only thing is a little bit of that mustard. Woo! The French dip. Fry bread taco. Got the fry bread, of course. We're gonna go in with some pinto beans, some of that delicious boeuf, that chopped skirt steak we got, God's best green, shredded lettuce, a little bit of tomato, a little bit of onion, a little bit of crema, just a drizzle. Avocado, we're loading this boy up. A little bit of salsa. To top it off, some cotija cheese. The fry bread taco. The Monte Cristo. Gooey, crispy, and smells like French toast. And to finish it off, a little powdered shoulds. All right, it is finally time to munch. I gotta try each of these sandwiches before I can rank them. So I think we will start with, you know what, let's go with the French dip. Oh yeah, Philippe's specialty, baby. Let's just see what that cross section's like. Actually, first we gotta, oh yeah. Hot diggity dog. Now I know what you're thinking. This is semi-controversial because usually when you get French dips, you might see it with caramelized onions. You might see some cheese on there. Maybe it's served with a horseradish sauce. At Phillips, at good old Philippe's, it's not. This is the bare bones order. The double dip with beef, with nasally horseradish mustard, and we're just gonna hit it right now. That's good. The mustard's really nice on that. I like that. I'm gonna hit the Navajo Taco, which honestly looks kind of more like a Navajo tostada right now, but I've seen a lot of videos of people making these at home and people like to eat them kind of like little pizzas like this, so that's what I'm gonna do. Bottoms up. It's like a savory elephant ear with taco stuff on top. How could that be bad? Fried bread's great, it's fried bread. Next up, the Monte Cristo, Disneyland's finest. Now, look how melty and gorgeous that is. It's basically French toast. Now they serve this with like a raspberry jam, so that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna pop a little of that on the end and hit it. So, wow, that's a lot. It's a lot of goodness in one bite. It's almost overwhelming. All right, I'm going for this Elvis boy. We got our bacon, blueberry preserves, and peanut butter. That's a little confusing. All right, and of course, now we got our tri-tip, last but not least. Remember, we got that garlic bread, the salsa, the arugula, the delicious tri-tip over the fire. That's wonderful. I might even say wonderful. Okay, now for the hard part, Judgment Day. We gotta rank these 1 through 5, 1 being our champion, 5 being last place, obviously. In 5th place, I gotta do it to him, the Fool's Gold. It's a little bizarre, obviously we know that. It's a bacon, jelly, and peanut butter sandwich, right? And at the end of the day, I'm just like not really a PB&J guy, which I know to some of you guys, you might be like wanting to like strangle me through the screen right now, but you know, that's just what I like. All in all, kind of just weirded me out, 5th place. All right, 4th place, next on the docket, second to last. It's gotta have to be the French dip. Now listen, I said it myself, this thing, I'm used to have it. I love horseradish, so the mustard's fantastic, but I like a creamy horseradish sauce. I like it with onions, I like it with cheese. Maybe you can order it that way at Philippe's, but honestly, this is the original sandwich that, you know, made it popular and gave it its name. It's great, especially in the jus, but it's just not really like anything to like write home about, I guess. All right, 3rd place. We are finally at the podium. Things are starting to heat up here, folks. 3rd place. It's gotta be the fry bread taco. Again, there's nothing wrong with the sandwich. Amazing ingredients. I love tacos, Mexican food. The indigenous fry bread is like a treat, and I'm probably gonna start like making it now and messing around with it. There doesn't seem to be anything too crazy unique other than the fry bread. So third place, fry bread taco. All right, the moment of tea. First and second place, respectively. This is the champion of the Western United States here. This is the sandwich that's gonna go on to the final round. This is not an easy decision. The Monte Cristo with the silver second place. You know, this thing's deep fried. It's got powdered sugar all over it. The lunch meat, the cheese. I mean, there's so many dopamine triggers going off right now. It's kind of hard to say that something completely deep fried with cheese and sugar on it's gonna be bad. So, second place, Monte Cristo. I'm very, very sorry to all my Disney adults out there. You didn't take the W this time, but silver's pretty good too. Which means, give it up for your champion, the Tritip sandwich, the Santa Maria, Central California Tritip sandwich. Woo! You're putting a sandwich on garlic butter bread. I mean, you're grilling it, you're putting butter on it. The bread's already unbelievable. Not to mention, next up, the main star of the show, the Tritip, one of my favorite cuts of beef on planet Earth. It just takes to the grill so well. You got that garlic pepper rub on there. The bright, tangy sort of like salsa that's almost like a pico de gallo that just helps kind of like wake up through that rich garlic bread and that heavy meat. And then of course, same thing on the other side, the flip, you got your cilantro arugula salad. Just bright, wakes it up, makes it feel a little like, I don't know, more balanced and healthy. It's just undefeated. And that's all she wrote, guys. Your Western United States champion, the Tritip Sando. But remember, of course, I'm just one bloke. I'm one guy with one opinion. If you think this should have been a different order or you think another champion deserved the gold, let me know in the comments below. The best way to support the channel is to donate over on the grocery fund, the Patreon. It literally helps pay for everything for the channel. If you can financially support over there, we love it. If not, that's chill too. Come say what's good on Discord. We be chatting, we be writing stories, and we've never done that. But we could if you come join. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you this time. So until next we meet, adios.